What's up, everybody? Shawn P. Greene. I am live on my Sean Patrick Greene Facebook, my Sean Fudge Greene Facebook. No, I'm sorry. Sean P. Greene YouTube and Sean P. Greene Twitter. And I'm listening to WBEN in the background, which is a local radio station. And they're taking calls from local people. What's happening? We had an earthquake this morning here in Buffalo, New York at about 6:15 this morning. Specifically, you'll see this epicenter is right here in West Seneca. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Mineral Springs and Indian Church Road is where the kind of like where they meet the neighborhood right here on Steiner and Crest Haven areas. So, of course, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go drive out there eventually. But I woke up at 6:15 this morning with a loud boom. What I had thought, my first reaction was, okay, there was a huge explosion in the back of my house. Like something happened with my my hot water tank or my boiler. And if that would have happened, this whole house would have been gone. But I thought that it was a big explosion that happened right here in my house. And then I thought, okay, well, it felt like more of a rumble falling down from my roof and then slamming. Or, I mean, with these Chinese weather balloons, okay, that's a real situation. Let me make sure I got my sound on good. Testing 1, 2. All right, so I got my sound on good. Can't a virtual background. Let's see if this works. My virtual background. Give me a second. Nah, I don't like it. All right, we'll just keep it. We'll just keep it normal. So, anyways, so here in Buffalo, New York, at about 6:15, we had this huge rumble, and everybody that's around here felt it. I am about 2 miles, maybe, from this location. Excuse me, where it happened. And immediately, after I looked at it on the epicenter, what's the name of the website? It's the earthquake.usgs.gov, which is the official organizational website for earthquake activity and whatever. But if you can see, West Seneca is the central location, what they consider the northeast part of West Seneca. Mineral Springs. I'm on Seneca Street, right near Mineral Springs, right off of Seneca Street. And so this is where I live in this area, and this is where it happened. So that was the epicenter anyways. So we don't really have any details yet other than everybody in this city, the suburbs, the region, reporting about having these tremors. Just actually, it's like a boom. I thought a truck hit a house or something fell on top of my house from the sky, like something from the weather balloon from China. I have no idea what happened. However, immediately, as soon as I jumped out, went outside, went around my house. Hey, is there any damage? No damage on my house. I'm like, what is going on? It felt very much like it was on my property. And it wasn't. It was 2 miles from me. But I walked outside my house on the front lawn. The neighbors were peeking out their house. they're looking around their homes to see if something happened to their home. And we're all just dumbfounded. It's still dark out, 6:15 a.m. Buffalo Standard Time, and we're all just kind of vaguely we can make out each other's faces, trying to figure out what's going on. Um, no damage to our neighborhood, thank God, but the 3.8 magnitude um, earthquake happened right here in West Seneca, just a mile from South Buffalo, about 2 miles from my home, and it was felt all over the region. And now I've been in situation like that in California where I was actually in my vehicle. It was in the morning time in 1992 when that big earthquake happened out in Los Angeles. And I felt the aftershocks of that in San Diego while I was sitting in my car. Actually, I was sleeping in my car in a parking lot somewhere and just getting a nap from the night before. And I felt my little 1992 Geo Metro swaying back and forth like this. I mean, I felt it like real quick. And as soon as I felt, I like jumped out of my bed, ran outside the car, and ran around it. What's going on here? The heck is going on here? On here, I thought a friend of mine was just out there shaking my car, trying to scare me or something, and that's not what happened. I found out watching the news that there was a big earthquake in Los Angeles in 1992. It was in the fall, I believe, and it shook that far south, about over 100 miles. The tremors were felt, and I believe that was a 7.1. I have to look that up, but there was quite a big earthquake out in Los Angeles while I was in San Diego, and I felt it. That wasn't that strong. This one that we had here in Buffalo, it was a 3.8 in West Seneca, about 2 miles from me. Had this been a 7.1 earthquake, we all would have felt it, and we would not have homes as we know it. The foundations on this ground, even though it's very solid, I think, would have been shaken. So crazy. What a crazy morning. What a weird way to wake up. So just for the record, there is no damage on my home that I can tell. You know, I still got to go in the basement, check out foundation. Looks like everything's okay. People are calling into WBEN on the Odyssey app. WBEN is our local AM news station, Radio 930. So if you want to tune in or check it out, go to the Odyssey app. They're doing it live. And our local news is doing it live right now, too, again. Channel 2, WGRZ. We're still not really knowing all the details of this, but we're good. I'm good for now. There's no other serious damage on my part. I just want to make sure that people from the Buffalo area that wants to chat or whatever can chime in if they'd like. People that are from out of town that just want to know more about what happened. Maybe people you might have some loved ones here want to find out. But this is the situation. Magnitude of 3.8 here in Buffalo, New York, which is very unusual. I'm going to zoom out just to show you just how far away some of these tremors were felt. Right here. See all these little squares or the triangles? Some people were feeling the effects of this so far this far away. So that's pretty significant. Pittsburgh. Just north of Toronto, Kingston. I don't even know where this is. That's close to North Bay, Ontario. Cleveland felt it. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania felt it. Albany, New York felt it. Just north of Syracuse, actually. So there's a lot of people are reporting some tremors from this, or at least the initial shock. So, but I'm going to go drive over there. I'm going to see, hey, the epicenter usually would have the most damage, if anything. But luckily, we're not seeing any damage in our local area yet. Nobody's reporting about it. So, hey, God is good. That's all I can say. So if you want to chat, I'm going to stay on for a couple minutes. It's 8 a.m. almost here in Buffalo, wherever you're at. Now, of course, the big news, probably even more so, which is sad, is that Beyonce racked up at the Grammys. Who cares? I don't care. I didn't even watch the Grammys. I don't even know who was nominated this year. I wasn't even paying attention to music at all. I don't even care. You know what I care about? My Tim Hortons coffee and whatever I eat in the morning with it. Sometimes a croissant, sometimes a bagel, sometimes nothing, muffin. But anyways, so the Grammys happened last night. If you guys want to talk about it, I'm willing to talk about it. If anybody wants to join in, I will put up the link, or at least the StreamYard invite if you want to join in on a call, talk about it. Okay. There you go. So if you want to talk, want to chat, there's one way to do it. I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Shawn P. Greene. Go to ShawnPGreene.com. I'm also broadcasting it live from my main page. So if you have any comments, questions, or anything about this earthquake thing, if you're from my region in Buffalo, New York area, would love to chat with you. If you're from out of town, you're just concerned about family or whatever, just chime in. If you want to talk about the Grammys, which I can care less about, we'll talk about it. And of course, here's really sad news: is that a couple hours before our little earthquake, and I mean comparatively little, the country of Turkey just had an earthquake over 7 point something. 1,300 people died. That's crazy. That is insane. And so I don't see anybody or any reports or nothing of damage or anything. The town of West Seneca has a Twitter account that's very active, so they use all of their details of breaking information via Twitter. So West Seneca will be a good resource to find out if there's anything going on over there in that town. As far as South Buffalo, we're in proximity between 1 mile to 3 miles, depends on what part of South Buffalo you're in. We're about, I'm 2 miles from where the epicenter was here in the West Seneca township. The northeast part of West Seneca, which is, it's actually a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, an old Navy buddy, lives in the neighborhood where this happened. How about that? That's crazy. So here's Indian Church Road. This is Mineral Springs. They connect right here. And this is where it happened. So I texted him and I asked him, I says, hey, were you in the bathroom about 6:15 this morning? Of course, I'm joking. I says, because it seems like you blew it up before you went to work or something. Because we all felt it, but that was a joke. But yeah, a good friend of mine lives right there in that neighborhood. So anyways, hey, join in StreamYard. You can use your cell phone. You don't need to download an app. You don't have to do anything. Just log into that from your desktop, your cell phone. It doesn't matter. You want to chime in and want to talk? Let's talk about anything. And I'll stay on just for about 15 more minutes. If nobody chimes in, I'm going to go do my investigative reporting. That was fudge witless news, as I always do. So, so join me if you want to. So what else is happening? I mean, we have you want to talk about news? I mean, okay, earthquake. I'm looking at Turkey and Syria. I'm just watching this on Today's Show on NBC. Very sad. 1,300 people died so far. Wow, that's so sad. Pray for those victims and family members. Pray for relief efforts to be given to that region. I mean, so far I don't hear nothing. People are calling in from all over on the local television, the local radio here in Buffalo, talking about this earthquake at 3.8. Some say it was 4.3 magnitude, but the one over in Turkey, well over 7.0, devastating. So sad. You know what I really thought, and honestly, anybody probably would have thought this, that because of this Chinese spy balloon going over America, that possibly there was maybe another one of these shot down and debris. I thought, that was one of my things too, is like, okay, maybe there was debris from this Chinese balloon thing that fell to the sky, fell from the sky, either on my house or on my neighbor's house or in my neighborhood. That's what it felt like. That's the kind of impact it had, you know, or maybe an explosion of some sort, real small explosion, but it really felt like something hit the house. It didn't feel like an explosion. It didn't feel like a normal earthquake. I've been through one, like I said, in 1992. Didn't feel like that. So, but luckily, so far, we're in good shape. Again, I'm going to go out, do some investigative reporting. And you know me, I'm going to put my videos up on my YouTube channel and you'll be able to check them all out later. So if I do find anything, but it doesn't seem to be anything to report because we don't have anybody stating on the news, whether it's the radio, television, locally, of what's going on. So, so I'm assuming everything is good and that no houses were damaged. But I'm going to check it out. I'm going to talk to some people. I got some text, maybe somebody I was getting in touch with. Ah, bro, that earthquake epicenter. Okay, this is my friend David. That earthquake epicenter was in your backyard. You blow up your bathroom? And he just texted back 4 minutes later. Yes, I did. Everything okay? Good. So that he's right there. The epicenter was basically right in his backyard. Steiner Road is actually what people are saying it was. I mean, it could be some house, something happened. But that was the actual earthquake reported by the USGS, whatever that organization means. I've never looked at stuff like that before, geological situations. But right there, here it is. The epicenter was right here. It's faint for some people, maybe. Let's see if it gives me the better topography. Street. Epicenter. Grayscale. Aerial. There you go. Aerial shot of West Seneca in the neighborhood of Indian Church and Mineral Springs, just east of Harlem Road, and almost right where Mineral Springs and Indian Church connect. That's where this happened. I can't zoom in any closer. It's right in that triangle area, just northeast side of West Seneca, about a mile from the border of South Buffalo. And we're still getting details, I guess. I'm going to tune in a little bit to this broadcast. I don't know if you guys can hear. Okay, you probably can't hear all what I'm hearing. So a lot of people locally are just okay. I'm going to share this tab. This is the WBN on Odyssey.
Just fly faster than the speed of
You might be
sound.
able to hear
You get that
what
boom
they're
and it
recording.
shakes the whole house.
Yes.
That's exactly what woke me up this morning. My son come running upstairs to see if we were okay. And my wife and I fell out of bed, and she was gone. She was
All right,
at
so
top
I don't know if
shop
you can hear
in West Seneca.
anything.
And she said the
But this is what I'm
lights
listening
over there,
to,
the cans started falling
live
off
stream
the
of
wall. So
Odyssey app, WBEN Radio 930. So if you want to check it out. So yeah, pretty crazy. Buffalo has been through some crazy, weird incidences lately. You know what? And you apocalyptic people who are just, oh, God's judging. I know. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into that type of thinking right now. All I know is that it's a freak of nature, probably, you know. But I do believe that there's always a correlation between the natural and the spiritual, and that's all I'm going to get into it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to get kooky about it, kooky, spooky, and weird about it. I'm just going to tell you that's how I think. That's how I feel. But right now, Buffalo is the epicenter of a lot of news in the last year. And I'm not talking about just the Buffalo Bills. If anything, our Buffalo Bills was brought front and center maybe the last couple years with the performance of Josh Allen, his first year as our quarterback, 2018 maybe. And when he did that leaping jump over one of the Minnesota Vikings players, I can't remember who that was, but it was like one of the first few weeks in the season. And so Joshua Allen, or Josh Allen for short, put us on the map in the sports world as an elite athlete, quarterback, whatever. And it brought respect back to the name Buffalo Bills. So he's been in the news for, many different reasons over the years, performance wise, whatever. Just can't make it. Made it to the AFC Championship. Hey, that was great. I think that was his second year in, and we've made it to the second round twice and failed. So Josh Allen was a selection for the Pro Bowl, and because you don't make the Super Bowl, then you stay in that running as a Pro Bowl selectee. And he elected to refuse to play. Instead, he went to somewhere to play golf, and that was his decision. Get some peace, whatever he's going through. Rightfully so. I mean, our city of Buffalo, since May, I would have to say, has had some significant news time nationally and arguably internationally, but definitely nationally. The weekend of May 14th, that was a series of events that happened. We had a shooting in Milwaukee basketball game that happened Friday night. That Saturday afternoon, the 14th of May, 2022, we had the 10 people that were killed with 3 other injured by a white supremacist hunting for African American people, citizens, in the neighborhood of Jefferson and Utica area at the Tops, which is a grocery store. Headline news. I mean, that was the most devastating thing still to this day that we've had to experience as a community. And that idiot did not accomplish whatever he might have thought he was accomplishing by maybe causing division amongst us, but he brought us together, I think. Right? As a whole, this city was brought together. And of course, our Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres and a lot of the main figures in our town brought together because of that incident to help and support and show love. Buffalo, choose love, a lot of slogans, a lot of catchphrases that were coming up during that time. And then, I mean, a couple months went by and you think, okay, that's pretty much as much as we're going to have to deal with. But then we had a series of things that happened, but minor to the national level, if you will. But we had the biggest thing, probably November, we had a big snowstorm. We thought that was going to be the big storm for the season, and it wasn't. The next month in December, Christmas weekend, destroyed a lot of homes. A lot of people died from it. The death toll, I think, is up in the mid 40s now, if not 50. People that were in their vehicles that froze to death. People in their homes that froze to death. You guys don't know this news maybe because it wasn't as accentuated on the national level, but we had almost 50 deaths, if not 50, in our region. And sad. It was very sad. A lot of sad stories. There were a lot of great good stories that came out of it, believe it or not. I have somebody calling me. Give me 1 second, but hey, what's going on? What happened? We had the earthquake. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about it on my podcast. When? Because I didn't feel no. At 6:15. In the morning? Yeah. I didn't feel nothing. Well, it was right here. It's in the neighborhood, David's backyard, basically. My buddy Dave in West Seneca. What happened in his backyard? No, it wasn't his backyard. It was right in his backyard, basically, right close to it. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm live right now doing a podcast. Oh. Yeah. I didn't feel nothing, and I was at work. Yeah, it was worse. We're like 2 miles from where it happened, so we felt it. Did you feel it? Yeah, I thought something happened to my house. I thought my house blew up. I hope nothing happened at Rebecca's house. She's farther away. Wow. Yeah. All right, let me go back. Got it. All right. Bye. Yeah, so Rosemary working in Orchard Park, she said she didn't feel nothing. All right. Interesting. Okay, so again, we have weird things going on here in Buffalo. Just weird stuff. Weird. I mean, the world has a lot of weird things going on. But from my perspective, this is a weird situation. I can't imagine in the last 20 years that something like this in this region that I know of was significant, changed everything in this. So what else happened? So we had the snowstorms. And then there was a house fire. This is something that wasn't national. There was a house fire that happened that put out a family of 6, and then from that situation 4 children died as a result. And that shook our community too. The beautiful young children under 8, 4 of them passed away, including one of them is an infant. So it was very sad news, and we were mourning the loss of that. Now you add the national, if not international, news about Denny Hamlin, not the NASCAR driver, Denny Hamlin, Damar Hamlin, the Buffalo Bills safety, collapsing on Monday Night Football. I'm out. Okay, what's going on here? Even though that was in Cincinnati, it was our football player from the city of Buffalo, the region of Western New York, the Buffalo Bills. So Damar Hamlin collapses. They say 9 minutes it took to revive him. Basically, he was dead. And God, in my opinion, healed him with the great work through these EMTs, physicians, and everybody that tended to him. So, and I think, if anything, that's an earthquake in itself, in a spiritual sense. The whole team was just shook up. Everybody was just dumbfounded. Like, that's my dude. That's my brother at arms here on the field. Just collapsed. And here he is, just fighting for his life. And we see now the progression of his healing. And of course, I mean, what would make a better story is that the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl this year because of what we've been through as a city. That would have made a much better storyline, much more impactful storyline than any other. I mean, Philadelphia and Kansas City, they've had their chances in the last couple years. Each of them have a one Super Bowl championship. Last 5 years, I guess. 6 years, maybe. I can't remember when Philadelphia won. But regardless, that would have made a better story for our city and for the NFL that the Buffalo Bills would win the Super Bowl. Seeing as that they went 4 times and lost, this would have been a nice icing on the cake for us to have a Super Bowl, almost redeeming or giving pride to a city who's endured so much in 8 months, 7 months. Now you have to live here to really feel that impact, because it's the buzz in town of what's been going on. Mass shooting, mass snowstorm, sustained winds of 70 miles an hour. I lived in Florida and went through 3 hurricanes there. And having sustained winds of 30 miles per hour up here was significant. But we also had some 70 mile per hour winds. That's hurricane force winds, even though it's a lower scale. Yeah, having rain and wind, that's damaging enough in Florida. But up here, that's not something that's normal for one. Of course, there was a lot of power lines and trees and all kinds of stuff that were down, but it was the snow that was blowing on top of it. That's what made it a big challenge because there was zero visibility. You go to my YouTube channel, you'll see it. Go to ShawnPGreene.com. Go to my YouTube channel. You'll see all the videos I did of the Buffalo bomb cyclone snowstorm. You'll see it. Whole playlist. You can just look up playlist on there, watch some of the footage, the impact, what went on. But that was unusual for us. Then Damar Hamlin. That's an unusual occurrence in the NFL. We haven't seen that, especially live on national television on a Monday Night Football, one of the most watched programs on television. And it was hyped as one of the best games to watch, Buffalo versus at Cincinnati, and Damar Hamlin situation, just impacted. And then you add all this snowstorm, bomb cyclone. Then we had some local people that lost their lives to a really devastating fire. And it just seemed like every week there's something in Buffalo that's happening that is impacting our whole community. And this definitely is going to be something we're going to be watching because now I've seen earthquakes. You have earthquakes in California and fault lines. I don't know about the fault lines up here. I never really studied it, but I know there was some sort of earthquake years, decades ago around here that people talked about. But I've never experienced it myself till this morning, 6:15 a.m., 2 hours ago, talking about our Buffalo earthquake. And I felt earthquakes before. That didn't feel like an earthquake. It felt like something just landed on the ground and blew up something. That's what it felt like. Now, if it was a real earthquake, I think serious earthquake, we'd be feeling some aftershocks since this happened. It's 2 hours now. I don't feel nothing yet, but you never know. So just stay tuned. The news will talk about it. You can always look it up, Google it. But I just wanted to check in with my family, friends, and everybody else that might want to know what just happened. 3.8 earthquake in Buffalo, New York, in a suburb bordering the South Buffalo Township, South Buffalo area in West Seneca, basically in the backyard of one of my good friends. Okay, so now we're having trouble. Great. That's okay. We don't need to talk about this any further. That's it. I wanted to chime in. If anybody wanted to talk, chat. I know it's early. People are going to work. People are on their phones, just checking things out, asking questions. I'm responding to some texts. Okay, good morning. So, MJ Morning Show is a station that I got somebody beeping. I don't know what that. Oh, that's probably somebody's bus. So, anyways, that's it. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about. You guys had a chance to chime in, but you can always text me. Go to ShawnPGreene.com. That's all my social media. You can chat, text. There's all kinds of ways you can communicate with me. Call or text if you want to talk. So just keep it locked. We got more Shawn P. Greene show stuff coming up eventually. Hopefully you guys heard me, and we'll get back to you later. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your concern. It seems like all is well right now in our neighborhood. So if there is anything that does happen, any other instance, then we'll keep you informed later. All right. I'm going to go do my investigative reporting, and who else knows what's going on. All right. God bless you guys. Keep it locked. ShawnPGreene.com.